The following is presented by the Computer History Archives Project.
The IBM Selective Sequence Electronic Calculator, or SSEC, was introduced to the public on January 27, 1948. Designed in 1945 and built from 1946 to 1947, the SSEC was a supercalculator using 12,500 vacuum tubes, 21,400 electromechanical relays and 36 punch tape readers. It was a hybrid machine using both electronic and electromechanical components and was the world's fastest scientific calculating machine in operation at that time. Little original SSEC documentation and very little film footage of the machine exists. However, this 1948 IBM promotional clip shows some of the machine in operation. Here is part of the vacuum tube-based arithmetic unit which comprised some of the 12,000 tubes. The master control panel utilized switches that controlled every part of the system operation. Data and program information was input using punch cards and then transferred at high speed to continuous loops of punched paper tape. Here one of the operators loads the paper tape data and program loops onto the tape reader. There were 36 punched paper tape readers used in the system, making its operation quite loud. What you are hearing now is the actual sound of the machine in operation. The first application of the SSEC was calculating the positions of the moon and planets, known as an ephemeris. Each position of the moon required about 11,000 additions, 9,000 multiplications, and 2,000 table lookups, which took the SSEC about 7 minutes. The machine was assembled on a specially designed raised floor to hide its many data cables and power cords and provide a clean, professional look to the public. After its testing was successful in late 1947, IBM's president, Thomas Watson Sr., ordered that the machine be dismantled and reassembled and put on display in a first-floor store window near IBM's headquarters at 590 Madison Avenue, so that the public could see the machine in operation. This was the public's first opportunity to see such a giant machine in action. The machine was not referred to as a computer in the modern sense, but a high-speed supercalculator or giant brain or even a giant robotic brain, as labeled by the New York Times. The hundreds of passers-by found the spinning wheels, control panels and blinking lights a fascinating sight, and these characteristics became familiarized in the public mind. Watson felt the large circular pillars detracted from the view of the machine, so this retouched photo was used in promotional brochures, with the pillars missing. Here is a rare film clip of Thomas Watson Sr. giving the dedication speech for the SSEC from inside the computer room to a large assembled crowd of scientists, educators, and the public. Watson was 73 years old at that time.
As we assemble within this new electronic calculator, I am deeply impressed with the scientific progress that has made necessary the construction of such a machine. I have profound admiration for the scientific progress that has made possible its construction. And I am aware that this calculator is simply a small tool to assist our great scientists in their work. I now dedicate the Selective Sequence Electronic Calculator to the use of scientists throughout the world.
The January 27th dedication was held inside the SSEC computer room near IBM Headquarters on Madison Avenue. Here is a view of some of the many attendees at the SSEC dedication entering the computer room. We do not have an exact number of attendees, but it was a large group. Each was given a program guide for the event. Some attendees are seen shielding their face from the very bright lights used during the filming of the event. Including Watson Sr. and Tom Watson Jr., the attendees included Rex Siebert Jr., Professor Wallace Eckert, Frank Hamilton, Professor Howard Aiken, and many others. The dedication was also covered in real time by on-site NBC radio personality W. Chaplin, a famous announcer and commentator for NBC.
The audio is a bit rough. but here is a brief excerpt with subtitles.
I'm speaking from inside the biggest brain with the biggest memory ever devised. It's a new electronics brain built by international business machines to do the mathematical spadework for researchers in every field of science. It will immeasurably speed their advance on 100 frontiers of knowledge. How long would it take you to multiply two numbers of 14 digits each? This big-of-the-house brain can do 50 such problems in 1 second. It can hold in its memory 400,000 digits for use whenever wanted. About the only thing it cannot do is to make up its own mind what to think about. It has to be fed 40 instructions per second. Astronomers, weathermen, supersonic men, Einsteins of the future, atomic scientists, all can come here with their problems for calculations in minutes, which might take them unassisted years.
The machine's January 27th dedication event sparked lots of publicity, and the New York Times published an article covering the story the following day. It included a detailed list of many of the key people involved in the project, which we share here in the appendix. Also in the appendix is a block diagram of the computer room layout with locations of specific equipment. The following excerpt shows the SSEC in its cameo appearance in the 1952 Columbia Pictures film Walk East on Beacon, directed by Alfred L. Werker, produced by Louis de Rochemont. In this excerpt we get a brief view of the control room, the master control panel, blinking lights, vacuum tube wall, and the two high-speed printers. This film was produced with professional lighting and 35mm camera equipment and is probably the best quality footage of the SSEC that exists today. Unfortunately, the machine segment only lasts about a minute and does not show the details of most of its other components. This film preserves at least a brief view of what this giant machine looked like in its final year. It was never referred to by name, but the IBM logo can be seen at the bottom of the light display panel. The overall project, which had a budget of nearly $1 million in 1946, was considered successful. It was a one-of-a-kind machine and a great improvement over IBM's Automatic Sequence Controlled Calculator, or ASCC, later known as the Harvard Mark I, that had been completed in 1944 and donated to Harvard University. However, the SSEC quickly became obsolete due to more advanced machines being created. It remained on continuous display until decommissioned in July 1952. 8 months later, IBM demonstrated its groundbreaking 701 electronic data processing machine in the same facility. We hope you found this unique look back at this one-of-a-kind machine helpful in your study of computer history. To find more information on its history and other early machines, the following appendix and resources are suggested.